At the start of the turn 3 operations phase, my concealed squad in a stone building in hex F5 loses its decoy marker as it's now adjacent to an enemy unit which is not in melee. My opponent starts his operations phase impulse by activating his MG weapons team to fire at hex F5. The die roll is a 2, so my squad with a yellow suppress marker becomes fully suppressed. My other squad receives a yellow suppression marker. My opponent uses 2 more operations points to have 2 of his squads fire on the same target, trying to fully suppress the other squad, but the fire attacks fail. Now he uses his adjacent squad to fire at close range. For this, the squad's firepower increases by +3 from 5 to 8, then it's reduced by 2 for the stone building to end on a value of 6. Even so, the fire attack just fails on a die roll of 7. For my operations phase impulse, I activate my MG weapons team to fire on the Russian squad in a stone building, but the attack fails. Anticipating an assault across the street into the stone building, I use 3 ops points to mark 3 units with opportunity fire markers. In his impulse, my opponent again tries to fully suppress all my squads in hex F5. 2 Russian squads open up, but for no result. For his third ops point, he activates a squad to assault across the street. I try to use opportunity fire from my fully suppressed squad in hex F5. As its morale level is now 1, that's what I need with my die roll to activate it, and I get it. My squad is marked with an opportunity fire marker, so I get to raise its proficient firepower by 1 to 6, and as the target is moving in the open and within 4 hexes of the firing unit, I get to add 4 to the squad's proficient firepower. This all raises its value to 10. The fire attack die roll is a 1. Let's take a quick look at the Russian squad's casualty ratings. These are the 2 numbers here. They represent another aspect of a unit's cohesion and training. Think of it as the unit's tactical ability at moving forward in assault, or its ability to adopt good defensive positions within a hex. If a unit is hit by a firepower attack, and it's possible to add the first number of the casualty rating to the die roll result, and the result is still less than or equal to the adjusted firepower attack, then the unit suffers casualty reduction. It's flipped over to show this side. Also, it's marked as fully suppressed. If a unit is hit by a firepower attack, it's possible to add the second number of the casualty rating to the die roll, and the result is still less than or equal to the adjusted firepower attack, then the unit is eliminated. Going back to my squad's fire attack, adding the Russian squad's second casualty rating to the die roll of 1, we get 8, which is below the German squad's firepower attack value of 10. The Russian squad is gunned down in the street. For his last ops point this impulse, my opponent has a squad fire on my squad in a stone building in D2, for no result. For my impulse, I use 2 ops points to mark these 2 units with opportunity fire markers. In his next impulse, my opponent activates and moves a squad. When it arrives in a wooden building D7, I have a squad use opportunity fire, but it's ineffective. With all our units used or marked with opportunity fire markers, the ops phase is done. It's the rout phase. Both my squads in the stone building in F5 are suppressed and adjacent to an enemy unit, so must take morale checks. My fully suppressed squad fails and must rout away at least 1 hex into protective terrain. There's no melee phase. Recovery phase. Game markers are removed and suppression levels are reduced. Turn 4. Can I hold on to the stone building in hex F5 to win by the end of this turn? My opponent's first ops phase impulse has him trying to suppress my squad in F5 with fire attacks from across the street, first with his MG weapons team and then with 2 more squads. These attacks fail, so he uses his fourth ops point to activate his adjacent squad to fire at close range. He gets to place a yellow suppression marker on my squad. In my impulse, I mark 4 units with opportunity fire markers. In his impulse, my opponent uses 2 ops points to have 2 Russian squads fire, one after the other, on my squad in F5. One attack is successful, and now my squad is fully suppressed. For his third ops point, he activates and moves a squad into the street. I announce that I'm going to try for an opportunity fire attack. My squad will first have to pass a morale check, with its morale level at 1. It fails. Now I play a command point to have my squad try its morale check again. It fails again. His Russian squad keeps coming into the stone building. I go for an opportunity fire attack with my MG weapons team, but as it's reduced, its morale level is 9, so it needs to pass a morale check to activate. It succeeds with its morale check but fails with its fire attack. My squad in F5 has already attempted opportunity fire, failed and was marked with a use marker. But as an enemy unit has moved adjacent, my squad can try for final opportunity fire. Final opportunity fire is special. It's similar to opportunity fire except that any squad or weapons team that has been marked as used can use final opportunity fire. Final opportunity fire is limited to firing on moving enemy units that are adjacent unless a command point is placed on a firing unit, in which case the target has to be within normal range. Final opportunity fire is less effective as a firing squad or weapons team's proficient firepower is reduced by 2. To conduct final opportunity fire, my squad has to take a morale check, but the die roll is a 5, so it fails. Now the Russian squad comes in, having spent 5 movement points. Note that my squad in G5 cannot use opportunity fire as the enemy unit has moved into a hex with a friendly unit. With his final ops point, my opponent takes a chance and throws a squad across the street in an attempt to raise stakes in his favour. I get my squad to use opportunity fire. With modifiers for the opportunity fire marker and a target moving in the open within 4 hexes, my squad's proficient firepower goes up to 10. The die roll is 5. Adding the Russian squad's first casualty rating of 3, this gives an 8. So the Russian unit is casualty reduced and fully suppressed. To keep moving, it now needs to pass a morale check, but fails, so it's stuck in the street. My opponent commits his command point to re-roll the morale check, but fails again. It's the rout phase. My opponent must rout check for his reduced squad stuck out in the open. The die roll is a 10. As this is higher than the second casualty rating on the full strength side of the reduced Russian squad's counter, the squad is reduced again, which is elimination. Now my fully suppressed squad in F5 must take a morale check. It fails. As it's alone in a hex for an enemy unit, it cannot rout out, so it's eliminated. My suppressed squad in G5 does not take a morale check, although it is now adjacent to an enemy unit. At the start of the rout phase, that enemy unit was in melee. Finally, the Russian squad in F5 forces the removal of the decoy conceal counter in G5, revealing just another decoy counter. With my units having routed away, there's no melee phase. Recovery phase removes game markers and reduces suppression levels. Using fire and manoeuvre tactics, my opponent has won, having pushed my units out of the stone buildings in hexes E6 and F5. And for the loss of 3 Russian squads, he's eliminated 2 of my squads and casualty reduced my MG weapons team. The other time I played this scenario against my opponent, I had the Germans, but that time I managed to win. After 4 separate Russian squad assaults had been repulsed, the game went to the last part of turn 4. I held on with a fully suppressed German squad in hex F5 after it had passed its morale check in the rout phase and then destroyed a Russian squad in close combat.